guys, it's Bruna, and I am here with you today because I am an insane person, and I bought way too many books. So I figured the least I can do with this insane action is make a video about it, so here we go. In my defense, it was my birthday, which isn't much of a defense, but here we are. Most of these books I got from Book Outlet, which is also part of my justification because things are really cheap there, and I use it as an opportunity to grab everything I think I might like. But first off, I just wanted to run through the books that I didn't buy from Book Outlet. Two of these haven't arrived yet, but I just wanted to throw them in anyway. The first of which is In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. So I recently read Her Body and Other Stories, which is this author's short story collection, and I fell in love with it. And In the Dream House is the only other book that she has, so I immediately needed to buy it. Also, the funny part is this little art I have hanging up is by the same artist that did the cover art for that book, which is so funny. Alex Ekman, check him out, I love him. But I don't know much about this book other than it's a memoir, I believe. That's all I know, but I'm interested because I just loved Her Body and Other Stories so much. I'm really excited to see what else this author has. Then the other book that hasn't come yet is Bell Hooks' All About Love. This is another one that I don't know much about. I've heard a lot about Bell Hooks. I see a lot of people praising her online and talking about how great her writing is. I've seen a couple people on Twitter specifically talk about All About Love and how it has completely changed their outlook on love and relationships. And I'm so interested. I really want to read Bell Hooks, and I think that's the perfect place to start. So I'm so excited for that to arrive. And then the last of these books that isn't from Book Outlet is Isaac Deanson's 7 Gothic Tales. This one I bought because it's one of Margaret Atwood's favorite books, so there might be a video on that coming at some point. I also really loved this edition. I thought it was so creepy with the little kid. Another one that I don't know much about, it's 7 Gothic Tales, that's all I'm going off of, but I'm excited. And now getting into the bulk of the books that I bought, the first of which is Stephen King's The Langoliers. I think that's how you say it. From my understanding, this book takes place on a plane, and there's some passengers who wake up to discover that all the crews and the rest of the passengers have disappeared. I think there's something about them traveling through a rip in time. Basically, I bought this because it's Stephen King, and I really love Stephen King. So this is the first one I got. I was also lucky enough to find a Bell Hooks book on Book Outlet, which is perfect. I still want to start with All About Love, but this one might be good to pick up next. The Woe to Change, Men, Masculinity, and Love. This book talks about how patriarchal culture keeps men away from knowing themselves and being able to express their emotions and be intimate with people. This one's also very short. I'm so interested to pick this one up. I also picked up 2 Margaret Atwood books because she's just one of my favorite authors. The first of which is Dearly. This is just some poetry. I've never read Margaret Atwood's poetry. I'm also not a big poetry person, but I'm trying to expand my horizons. And I feel like since I like her fiction, maybe I have a better chance of liking her poetry. Also, this cover is beautiful, so we'll see how I feel about it. And then the other book I picked up is Hagseed, which is her retelling of The Tempest, I believe. I've never read The Tempest. I feel like I should probably read that before this, though, so that I can see the connections. I don't know. I've heard a lot of great things about this one, though. Next, I picked up Deerskin by Raman McKinley. This one I picked up, well, because I saw it on there, but also mainly just because Goodreads recommends this to me, every single time I'm looking at their recommendations. I don't have a complete understanding of what this is about. On the back it mentions, a princess who has to run away from her kingdom. That's all I know. I am really interested in this just to see if the Goodreads recommendations are good, though, so maybe I'll look into that and see what else they recommend me and do a whole video on it. Then I have Catch and Kill by Ronan Farrow. This is Fannon's account about how he was able to do research to expose all these high-profile abusers. I've heard a lot about this book. There's a lot of hype about it, especially when it first came out, although maybe that's just the New York Times trying to get people psyched. But I have been interested in reading it ever since, and it's also a different type of nonfiction for me. I don't usually read journalistic nonfiction, so we'll see how it goes. I also picked up 3 Isabel Allende books. I've never read anything about her, but Book Outlet had almost all of her books. I swear to God, there are so many on there. And she's an author that I've wanted to pick up, so I had to stop myself and only pick up 3, which is already just too much, but whatever. The first that I picked up is My Invented Country. This is her memoir about growing up in Chile during the coup. And I believe, I'm pretty sure that I'm right about this, that her uncle was the one that was assassinated, so I'm definitely interested in this. I'd love to learn more about that. Then I have 2 of her fiction novels, which I'm gonna be completely honest, I do not know what these are about. I picked them up because I really wanted to read Alunde, and I've heard that she's really popular in the magical realism genre, which I've wanted to read more of. So the first that I picked up is Daughter of Fortune. This is about a woman in Chile during the gold rush in America, I think, and she travels to America for that reason. And then I also picked up A Long Petal of the Sea. This cover is beautiful. I'm not sure if you can see how it reflects. No, you can't. It's pretty, trust me. And what I know about this book is that it takes place during the Spanish Civil War, which seems to really inspire a lot of magical realism, actually. I am so excited to pick one of these up, and I feel like I should do it soon, so that if I do like it, I can pick up all her other books on Book Outlet, because I'm an insane person. Next, I have Oscar Wilde's The Canterville Ghost, The Happy Prince, and Other Stories. I really loved this cover. That was a big thing for me. I also have liked Oscar Wilde, at least what I've read so far, which is The Picture of Dorian Gray, of course. And I've really been wanting to try short story collections, so I thought this would be a good place to start. Then I have Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. Again, this is just an author that I've been wanting to try out. I know that she is Indigenous, and I know that she writes like science fiction fantasy, so I've been really excited about her for a long time, actually. From my understanding of this, which might be wrong, there's like a climate catastrophe, and then the gods from Navajo legend start like walking the land, and it takes place on a reservation, I believe. I think this will be so cool to read. I'm really excited. I also picked up a bunch of Primo Levi books. I had to read The Drowned in the Sea for a class of mine a couple years ago, and I remember being interested in his other novels ever since then. And Book Outlet had a bunch of them. First that I picked up is Survival in Auschwitz, so this is his personal memoir, because Levi is a Holocaust survivor, so this is his personal account. And I also picked up the companion volume, which is The Reawakening, so these two went together, so I figured I should pick them both up at the same time. And then I also have If Not Now, When. This is like a fictional account of the Holocaust, or like I think it takes place at the end of World War II, but it's based off of a real story and kind of talks about what Jewish prisoners had to go through after the war ended, I believe. Yeah, I'm really interested in picking this one up. I've only read his nonfiction, so I think this will be a really valuable addition. One that I'm really excited about is Frankenstein in Baghdad by Ahmed Sadawi. This is a book that I've seen, what's her name? I think it's just Emmy on YouTube. She was talking about this one, and it made me so pumped for it. I really wanted to pick it up, and I was so excited when I saw it on Book Outlet. So this book takes place in Baghdad, obviously. It takes place in US occupied Baghdad, to be more specific. And my understanding is that it follows a guy who is like collecting human body parts and sewing them together to make a corpse as like a statement on the occupation. But then that thing he's created kind of turns into a monster or something. I don't know. I feel like this is gonna be so cool. I'm so pumped. I keep saying that about all of them, but obviously I bought them, so obviously I'm excited about them. Another one I was excited to see on there is Nandi Okorafor's Binti Home. This is the second book, and I think it's the Binti series, I don't know. I have the first book, and I haven't read it yet, but they're so small that I feel like once I get through the first one, I'm gonna want the second, so this was a good find. Then I have a book that, like, I'm not really sure why I bought it. I think I've just seen it online, and so I instinctively was like, oh yeah, I should read that too. But I don't know how much I actually want to read this, so... But it's My Dog Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. Now, I'm pretty sure this story follows a girl who used to have a relationship with her high school teacher when she was in high school. But this takes place like well afterwards, when allegations have come up against that teacher for misconduct, and she has to kind of grapple with that because she hasn't learned to see that as like a trauma and a bad thing yet. I feel like I've heard some good things about this, but then I also don't really know how much I really want to read a story about like a girl who had a relationship with her teacher. I'll give it a shot though. I mean, I bought it. Next, I've got Blood Rights by Barbara Ehrenreich. I shouldn't have a YouTube channel if I can't say any last name ever. This is like a sociology book that examines the origins and history of the passions of war. I thought that was such a cool premise. I've never read anything about this author before, but I have heard about her, especially Nickel and Dimed, I think it's called. So I've definitely been interested in reading something by her for a while. Actually, I think, yeah, I do have another one of her books, which is Midwives and Nurses. Now I have another option as well. I also got McGlue by Tessa Moshfegh. Now, like, the only reason I bought this is because I want to read My Year of Rest and Relaxation, but I saw this one on there, so I figured maybe this would be a good start to read this and I see if I like her style first. Also, this cover I'm obsessed with. I think it's beautiful. I love, like, the neon green. I don't know much about what this is about. It says on the back that it takes place in Salem, Massachusetts in 1851, which is already kind of cool. And then it follows a man who may have killed a man. May being a strong word there. But yeah, I'm hoping this will give me an indication of whether I should spend money on her other books. I also have another Stephen King that I should have mentioned earlier if I didn't realize. I picked up Thinner, which is originally written when he was Richard Bachman. This is about, like, a powerful man who murders a woman, like, accidentally with his car, and then he doesn't have to face the charges because of his connections, but the father of the woman, like, threatens him with the word thinner. That's my only understanding. Again, it's Stephen King, so I really enjoy Stephen King most of the time, so I had to pick it up. And also I have a problem, and I picked up way too many books. Next, I've got Brief Interviews with Hideous Men by David Foster Wallace. I picked this up because it was David Foster Wallace, another author I really want to read. I don't know if I'm emotionally prepared for Infinite Jest yet, although I feel like I need to try to get through it at some point, just as a goal in and of itself. I've read some of Consider the Lobster. I think it's behind me somewhere. I'd never ended up finishing it, but I did like his writing and I want to try out his fiction. No idea what happens in this book. None at all. Another book I don't know much about. N.W. by Zadie Smith. I picked up, I forget the name of her other book. It's yellow though. I can picture the cover, I just can't remember the name. I did like that book. It wasn't like a favorite, but I could. Swing Times, that's the book. I knew it. It wasn't a favorite. I did like it, I did enjoy it, but I do want to pick up more by her. This one just doesn't have much of a description on the back. It says it follows 4 Londoners as they try to make adult lives outside of Caldwell, the council estate of their childhood. But then, like, it doesn't give any other idea about the plot. There's just, like, kind of mysterious sounding words on the back. So that'll be fun though. I like going into novels without really knowing much about them, which you can probably tell by this haul because I don't know much about any of these books. Ooh, and then another find I was really excited about is Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield. This is a book where I remember when it came out, I was really interested in it. It's hard to describe, like, obviously not reading it. From what I know, it follows, like, there's an inn on the River Thames, and suddenly a very wounded stranger, like, bursts in with, like, a dying child in her arms, or a dead child, and then a couple hours later, the child comes back to life. So there's, like, is it magic? Is it not magic? What's up? Also, this is the author of The 13th Tale, which is a book I read and I really liked. I didn't even realize that until after I bought this and it said it on the cover, but that makes me even more excited to read it. Next is Fates and Furies by Lauren Groff. This is a literary fiction novel that I've seen recommended a bunch, which made me want to pick it up. I don't know much plot-wise. The back doesn't really fill me in on anything. It's following, like, a marriage between these two people. That's the only thing I can say, because the back doesn't give me much information either. It says a novel about marriage, power, and perception. So, sure. Sign me up. And then the very last book we have, which I can't believe I got through all of these already, is Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh. I don't know how to say that last name. And this is, like, a well-known author, so, like, maybe I should know how to, but I don't. So we're just gonna move past that quickly. I bought this because I wanted to read something about the author. I've seen them recommended all the time. Book Outlet had, like, all of their books. And then these, like, nice little additions. All the different books kind of have a similar theme. I had to stop myself from picking up more. Because, again, I don't even know if I like this author. So this is me showing a little ounce of self-control for once in my life. This, I believe, is their, like, most popular novel. I know it follows, like, the English aristocracy and, like, the kind of waning days of the Empire. So you're following, like, a really privileged world, and I think that that's kind of, like, satiric, maybe, a little bit. I saw a reference to it on Grimble Girls the other week. Basically, I just bought this so I could try out the author, and maybe I could read it, like, tonight, you know, and then, if I like it, go and buy all the other ones on Book Outlet. Or maybe I should stop, because I just bought over 30 books. Okay guys, well that is all for today. I have shamed myself enough publicly with the amount of money that I spent on this and the lack of knowledge I have on all of these books. And I will see you soon with another video. Goodbye!